Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for braving the weather. Before we officially gavel into order today, we do have a little giveaway. So maybe some lucky winner tonight. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to Stephanie for a casino night issue.
So we just kind of did a fun little contest online on our Facebook page to try and get some more interest in casino night, and we did a giveaway of 2 tickets which have been generously donated by community members, and so we have names in our handy dandy little box. I was just going to draw a name for the winner. Actually, Rob, do you want to draw a name for me for our winner? Oh, Ali Estrada. Is she here? She's not here. So we have 2 tickets for Ali Estrada. We'll be sure to give those to her. So thank you, everybody who participated in our free ticket giveaway, and I appreciate everyone's support for this event. It's going to be fun.
Okay, thank you. And also, before we officially gavel into session today, we have a quick presentation from a set of guests about an exciting event coming to Rancho Murieta in May. So are you Mr. Walker?
Yes, sir.
Great.
All right, my name is Mike Walker with the Murieta Trail Stewardship, lot number 804. I just wanted to educate everybody on what we're doing right now. May is Bike Month coming up this May. As you guys are probably already familiar, Scott Road is normally shut down. This year it's going to be May 5th. The day prior to that is May 4th. We're going to be having the Casumnas Crusher. It's going to be an approximate 40-mile bicycle race. It's going to take off out of the Murieta Inn and Spa up to Jackson Highway, Michigan Bar, head out the back 40 way out in the back, and then eventually come back into the grounds here in Rancho Murieta. We've been working tightly with Murieta Inn and Spa as well as Rancho Properties North. It's going to be a great big event. We plan on having anywhere between 300 to 500 racers attend the event. We're going to cap it at 500. We've been working with the local community as far as CHP. We're going to be getting our own paramedics out, directors out on the race. Impacts of the community is going to be on De La Cruz. I believe you guys have a map up here already. But De La Cruz near Murieta Parkway. There's a dirt service road that comes in. Racers are going to be coming off of that dirt service road, hanging a left, heading down toward down De La Cruz toward the bridge. Other affected area is going to be Bridge House Lane. We are going to have directors out on the course in those areas, directing traffic, as well as racers, make sure there aren't any issues. This is going to be toward the end of the race. And as such, all the racers are going to be pretty well strung out. It's not going to be a big gaggle of racers coming through. You're going to have 1s and 2s. One other last affected area is going to be up near the, Clementia Circle. Up near the water treatment plant, going down toward the amphitheater. There you go, by Camino del Lago. And again, the imposition to the community should be just about nil. It's going to last for inside of the community, should only affect us for maybe an hour or so. And then eventually we're going to meet back down, the finish of the race will be back down at the Country Club lower parking lot. From there, we're going to be bringing the racers across Jackson Highway back to Murieta and Spa, where the race originally will start at. We're going to be going through the new gate that's right there, so it's not even going to be coming through the north gate. North gate will not be affected by the race event. We'll be crossing Jackson Highway using the gate between the north and the south. Going across the road, again, we're coordinating with CHP to get riders and racers across. The high points, the takeaway for you guys here is just highlighting the community and bringing awareness to Rancho Murieta. Whether it's going to be the racers that are coming in, we're pulling racers from San Francisco Bay Area all the way up to Nevada state line and everywhere in between. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be coming to either support their race people, teams, and whatnot, riders and racers. We'd like to garner the community's support in this. We're working closely with Total Body Fitness as far as professional race management. Mark Shaw here is with TBF Racing. Mark, you care to add anything to this?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. As Mike said, I'm Mark Shaw with Total Body Fitness. It's a multi-sport training, racing, and travel company that we started back in 1991. So we've been at it 27 years, and we've been producing events for 22 years. I've done a lot of cycling events, about 1,500, including road bike races, triathlon races, cross-country mountain bike, enduro downhill mountain bike, and cyclocross. And the Casumnes Crusher is going to combine gravel grinding out there on Latrobe and South Shingle and Michigan Bar. Coming into Rancho Murieta, some fantastic trails there. And then finishing with a cyclocross component right near the finish line. Very excited to work with Rancho Murieta. I love the trails here, to work with the cycling group, great bunch of guys, and also working with John Sullivan at the Murieta Inn and Spa. We're looking to make this a weekend event for the Rancho Murieta community because the Great Scott event is on Sunday. So to bring folks in from the Bay Area, from Reno Tahoe, from Santa Rosa to Central Valley, from the Chico region, and of course, you know, kind of our triangle of Sacramento, Rockland, Roseville, Folsom, El Dorado Hills. So really a good mix of high-income participants coming into this region for the weekend. Take advantage of the Casumnes Crusher on May 4th, and then the Great Scott Bike event on Sunday the 5th. We want to involve the Rancho Murieta ownership group by offering a free bike skills clinic at the country club on Friday afternoon, 3:30 to 5:30. Come on out for free skills and drills that will be conducted by myself and a couple other professional mountain bike coaches, road bike coaches. I provided a timeline there, so kind of, you know, we'll get in and get out and clean up and double check after ourselves. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you. Sounds like fun. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to call into session the Rancho Murieta Association Board of Directors meeting for January 15th, 2019.
Oh,
Roll.
are we going to talk about this later? Do we get to?
This was just informational today.
Okay.
I think it's going to be on a board.
No, I didn't need questions of them. I just wondered if we were able to.
Good. Okay. All right. Thanks. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Thank you. Okay, before we reach our public comment section of the meeting, which will be next, I would like to read a comment on behalf of the board. The Rancho Murieta Board of Directors is elected to oversee the business of the association, and we operate all meeting procedures in alignment with the rules of the Davis-Sterling Act, which guide our actions and decision-making processes. As elected representatives of this community, it is our responsibility to conduct all business meetings in an orderly, respectful, and timely manner, and to not tolerate or permit unruly or excessive interruption or disrespectful behavior. For the past several months, and especially this past December board meeting, the public comment section of the agenda is carried on too long and in a manner that challenged our ability to govern effectively. Now, public input is important, and members making comments will be respected. But it's equally important that as a board we work together in a dignified and honorable manner to oversee the business of the association. Residents who attend our board meetings must understand that they are observers of our business meetings, and according to the Davis-Sterling Act, can only add information to our meetings at designated times on the agenda, and such comments must adhere to the guidelines issued in the agenda. For all meetings going forward, when the board conducts the public session agenda, we will follow Davis-Sterling meeting regulations by allowing a public comment period at the beginning of the agenda. We ask that residents restrict their comments no longer than 3 minutes and focus on non-agenda items. If a resident wishes to comment on an item that is on the agenda, he or she must wait until the board addresses that item to do so. During the public comment period, all comments must be delivered in a respectful and orderly manner. According to David Sterling, board members cannot address the comments made or questions asked during public comment periods. Any and all complaints, concerns, questions should be put in writing, sent to the general manager of the association. Thank you very much, and that will open our public comment section of the meeting.
My husband's standing up here because my public comment is actually going to take longer than my 3 minutes, so I am going to use his 3 minutes as well, which was okayed by Alex. My name is Stephanie Xenos, and my lot is 501. I'm speaking today on our general manager, Greg Forster's current and future contract. I was in contact with Alex Bauer yesterday to hopefully get my concerns and questions answered before this meeting, but unfortunately he was unable to answer any questions that I had. He cited that he was unsure of labor laws and what he could and couldn't say. I would have approached him earlier with my questions if I knew that we as members would not get our questions answered during public comment. I was made aware of this yesterday morning. So instead, I will have to give my questions here in public comment and would hope and expect that they will be answered within the bylaws amount of time. I do understand some might not be, and in that case, I would appreciate an email from the association's lawyer stating which questions I cannot get answers to and why. My first question is, who wrote Greg's future contract? I would like to know if reasonable time was spent on how much a GM for an association like ours makes, as well as benefit package before voting on resigning him. I noticed in his benefits section that he is getting family medical, vision, and dental. Is he paying anything out of his own pocket into his benefits, or is associate members paying his entire benefits for him and his eligible family members? Is he also getting retirement contribution? He is also getting retirement contribution of 10% of his salary, which comes to almost $15,000 a year. His first contract year of his new contract starting February. He also receives 5 paid weeks a year of vacation, and contrary to Alex and I's quick combo yesterday, he most definitely is getting paid for his 1 day off every other week. He is indeed a salary employee, not hourly. He will also be getting a 4% raise a year every September. By my understanding, he gets his raise no matter what the board performance review of him for that year is. His starting salary for February will be $12,316.89 a month. That equals to almost $148,000 a year. That doesn't include his benefits, car allowance, bonuses, etc. That is just his salary. Bonuses. In this future contract, there is now written in a bonus section. In his current contract that ends this month, there was never a bonus section. $25,000 will be going to staff bonuses every year for the next 3 years. How many staff will be considered for this bonus? Are there official reviews of staff every year to help base these bonuses? There's also another bonus program for staff. This one is a little more complicated. Staff would get 50% of the black from the budget actuals. I don't fully understand, so I hope to get that understood. I would love better clarification on this, as well as what numbers from the 2018 budget actuals would have or will be used to determine this second bonus. Also, it is for the same staff members as the $25,000 bonus. Why is there now a section in Greg's contract for a bonus for a bonus for him at no more than $15K in these new staff bonuses? I see that he has been paid out a bonus in 2017. Has he been paid out one in 2018? Before this new contract, who had the authority and where in bylaws does it state that bonuses at $15,000 can be given to the GM? Was staff also getting bonuses prior to this new contract, and how much? Reimbursements. I have read that in many instances there was a no cap on reimbursements such as food, hotels, and travel expenses. Can you explain why there was no framework for that? Vehicle allowance. I just want to address that he is getting a vehicle allowance monthly of $500 or an RMA maintained vehicle. Can you tell us if he's getting the allowance or the RMA owned vehicle at this time? Another FYI, if he took an RMA owned and maintained vehicle, the association members pays the cost of the vehicle, such as insurance and maintenance. Does Greg do a lot of driving that would make giving a car $500 a month worth it to the association members? Our community does not stretch out too big to make long trips and added mileage on a personal vehicle. My opinion, of course. Termination. I'm going to just quickly touch on this. The association pretty much had no other option but to re-sign Greg. This contract is pretty ironclad, which is why I asked who wrote it. My opinion is that this person who put this contract together did not have the association and the members in mind financially. If we did not re-sign him, we would have to pay out 12 months of his salary as a severance package. A with-cause termination per this contract is very hard to come by. I would implore any member of this association to contact the office and get a copy for yourself. Again, the statement and opinions of this contract are my own. I personally do not feel that the board held its members in thought when voting on and executing the start of this future contract. This contract is not in the best interest of the members of the association, and I believe that just with the bonus pay schedule, we could have hired a part-time person to handle social media and rec events to take that off of staff, since at the last meeting it was a concern of Rob's that the events are too much for the association to handle. Our previous HOA was ran through a management company. Have we looked into an HOA management company and its costs, pros, and cons? Let's stop lining the pockets of our employees that seem to be getting pretty well paid and start doing what's right for our community. Fiscal responsibility should be important to our board.
Okay, any further public comments?
Yeah, I just kind of found out this meeting was going on. I don't live here. My dad lives across the street at the trailer park, and
I'm sorry, do you have a lot number?
no,
Oh,
I'm just making public comment.
the public comments are only for people who are property owners in the association?
Okay. All right.
Do you have, if you want to write something up and give it to the general manager, you're welcome to do so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Any further public comments?
I watched the last meeting a little bit, and I think a lot of points that were brought up, there was some I was in agreement
I'm
with.
sorry, you'll have to state your name and lot number.
Mike Martello, 424. And I was actually very supportive of the Bulldogs in their request to use the fields for participant. And I wanted to bring a little history up. There was a couple comments made about a certain member that really offended me. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts with this board and his participation. The comment was that he received a tax benefit for his donation and his volunteerism into this community. So when I moved out here, there was really no Boy Scouts or any Girl Scouts out here. There was no recreational program. Little League was in the Herald. There was no soccer league. There was no lacrosse. There was no recreation at all in this community. And a variety of members and a variety of people got together with different interests and gathered together with their time and money and effort. And they brought Little League from Herald. They really expanded Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. They really worked on the soccer fields, getting the league involved in this kind of stuff. The community was so great, when they cut the schools, the community and all the volunteerism paid for a music and art teacher out of our own pocket. We've also helped people that had cancer or other issues here. When ETC started, Mike Jones and Aaron Reed started ETC, and one of their first sponsors was the Jenko family. He actually offered to build a stage at no cost to the association and everything so ETC would be successful. I believe every year they've been a sponsor of just about every program and every charity that's existing. Every 4th of July, he cooks hot dogs for the community. He volunteers. He does a lot of things with the tree lighting and Santa stuff. But there was a presentation that made him look cheap. And I really think that was in bad taste. And everybody volunteers, everybody tries to make this community bad. And I think the board of directors of the Jenko family are really a big apology. I think you guys are out of line to reference anything about his generosity or their contribution to just about every single thing that goes on in his family. And he was hurt by it. And that's the wrong message to send. Politics is politics, but volunteerism and donations of money is something different. You guys need to correct this and publicly apologize to that family. Thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar items are considered routine and will be approved by one motion. There will be no discussion of the items unless the director requests a specific item to be removed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Minutes. We seek the motion to approve the minutes from, we have a couple, we have minutes from the December 18 regular meeting. Let's start with those.
I move to approve the minutes of the December 18th board meeting.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the approving the minutes from December 18, 2018, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, Mayor, motion carries 7-0. Then we have the minutes of the organizational meeting from December 18, 2018. I seek a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to
I have a
approve.
question, Alex.
Go ahead.
Did we determined that the process of choosing committee chairs is wrong, that was stated in that last organizational meeting, right? That's only for directors or something? Okay, I just wanted to clear that up.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for December 18th
For the organization.
for the organizational meeting.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from the organizational meeting December 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're on to item 6, the president's report. So the board met in executive session at 5:30 this afternoon, and we heard an appeal, and we discussed a couple of contracts, and something else in there.
While he's thumbing through his booklet,
Yes.
I subbed for Alex in the president's meeting with the other presidents within the community. And the director and the manager or the board president typically meet regularly. And that's with CSD and the recreational department. And we met last week and discussed some security issues, especially those associated with the gate access around the holidays, which was kind of a disaster this year. And the plans to improve that so it doesn't happen again, at least not quite that way. And we also discussed the joint security meeting, which we will all participate in, and that's currently tentatively scheduled for February 28th.
Okay, thank you. And indeed, that was our executive session with contracts and an appeal. So that concludes the president's report.
Okay, the
General
first,
manager's report.
the first item I have is the field use contract for the Murieta Bulldogs. The attached field use contract is for 1 year, with the first 6 months being at no cost. Months 6 through 12 would be charged at a fee yet to be determined by the board. The field use schedule has not yet been determined. So the recommendation is to approve the field use contract between RMA and the Murieta Bulldogs.
Okay, is there any discussion from the board on the Bulldogs contract?
I make a motion to approve the field use contract between RMA and the Murieta Bulldogs.
And
As stated.
you have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, do we have any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the field use contract, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed?
I abstain.
So we have the one abstention, so 6-0 to 1 abstention. Motion passes. Gate access, please.
Point of order. Abstention or nay? What's-
I believe he can abstain from the vote.
Rather than voting against it.
I believe that's fine.
Okay, the next item is the Murieta Village Gate Access. Effective January 1st, all barcodes at the village were turned off. The village board sent a memo out to their residents stating that if they wanted access through the Rancho Murieta Association via barcode, that they needed to deal directly with the Rancho Murieta Association. And so the question before the board is, do we want to adopt an annual fee that each member would pay over there, provided they signed a resident use agreement, which basically says they've got to comply by our rules, and if they're speeding or running stop signs, there'd be a fine attached, and they'd be liable for the payment of those fines. And so I guess the discussion for the board to have is if there's an interest in adopting that annual fee, and if so, what that fee would be.
Okay, open for discussion, board?
Well, I think we should find a way for the village residents to come over here that want to go ahead and come up over on a fee schedule of some sort. You know, whether they have, for two reasons, even if they have relatives and friends here, a lot of them like to do something other over here in the community besides without their relatives and friends. Plus, it does back up the gate and the security issues, you know, if they're having to go through barcodes and, you know, checking in and that kind of thing. So we do have to look at that, but they've been longtime residents out here for 38 or 40 years and used to access. So because of the change, I think we should be accommodating and figure out a fair solution. And they seem to be willing in some ways. It's too bad we couldn't have worked out something better with their board, and maybe that's still a possibility, which would probably be the best solution for everybody, instead of this annual fee.
Okay, further discussion?
And with talking with Greg, I know that some residents over at the village, they approached him and they want to have the flexibility of, well, I have to commend them because they want to use our amenities. Some of them like to fish. They don't want to be able to have to bring someone along who lives here. So they want to be able to do it right, pay a small fee, and enjoy their fishing. They want to have free access so it's not constrained. And as for the, I'll just toss it out. I'd like to see us, I know we were going through negotiations. I'd like to propose a $300 a year access fee.
Are you making an official motion?
I'll make an official motion.
Okay. Motion.
How'd you come up with that number? Just out of curiosity. It's not even, I don't think. I mean, how are they going to do it monthly?
It would just be a one-time
You have to pay.
one-time check. And I believe 300, when we were doing our negotiation before, even though there was something else added into it, I'm just looking at the dollar value. If it was 350, then it's 350. But whatever was it 300 that we?
I think it was $30 a month, which would be
What
$360.
we initially talked about?
No, initially we were talking about something higher, and then we had some other number, and then we're back up here.
I believe the 300 came about when we had a private discussion with their board. And Rob actually asked them what they thought was a fair number, and they were the ones that set the 300. At that meeting, that was why it kind of got followed through. However, at one time, we had had something else along with the 300 in the negotiation, and they didn't approve that, so.
Greg, you said the logistics of allowing them to pay monthly or to pay in quarterly is a problem, because it creates,
Yeah, you have to-
you know, if people don't pay, then you have to would you explain that?
Well, I mean, you got two functions. Number one, they'd have to come over here and pay, and then we have an accounting transaction, and then the CSD has to apply a barcode and activate the barcode, and then once they want to, if they decide they wanted to come over here for July and August, then you'd have a barcode active for 2 months, and then you'd have to deactivate the barcode. And so I think the accounting function and the burden that placed on CSD trying to keep track of barcodes makes it more reasonable to have them pay an annual fee, so you only have that transaction once a year.
Right. And that's where I get stuck sometimes, because, you know, $300 a month $300 doesn't seem like quite enough for, you know, having access to all the amenities. But hitting them with a $750 fee one time, it seems high. You know,
Kind of stiff.
So that's what I was trying to get, what would be, in the middle, something that's to be fair.
And I agree, we talked about this before, I think 300 was mentioned to them. Maybe it might not be enough if you consider what everyone else is paying, but I still think it's reasonable. And if it's reasonable, I think that that's an appropriate amount to at least start with. Maybe we can revisit it down the road, but I think for going from paying nothing to accessing the community, I think 300 is reasonable. And so,
Well, I would say that we should look at some kind of a COLA increase each year, though, because, there were just increased costs. So whatever we decide on, I would also like to add in that we consider doing some kind of a small COLA increase, 3% or 2% or something like that.
Or tied in with the dues that we have for increase on a yearly basis here?
Yeah, whatever increase we do for the dues here could be similar. That would be logical.
Except most of the people over there are on fixed incomes.
I know,
I know.
I know, but
I'm just
there's-
saying, there's special considerations over at the villages because it's a 55 and older community, and they have such a long time history out here in Rancho Murieta. So. But, I think that's a really great place to start where we're at, and we can always kind of look at it and revisit it.
It'd be nice to have closure to this.
What?
Excuse me?
It'd be nice to have closure to this.
How
And
about
get,
how about 350?
Well, if we did $30 a month, I think it'd be $360.
Yeah,
And $30 a month to me seems
yeah, it
reasonable.
seems reasonable, yeah.
My math's correct, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
360.
360.
So $30 a month, which is what I thought.
But we're going to charge them by the year, not by
By the
month.
year.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but we were
Right.
saying if it was broken down, that's what it would be, yeah.
And you said you had an agreement for 300 already?
Well,
More or
we
less.
had talked
Not
about
an
it
agreement,
briefly.
but you had
Basically.
They never
spoken about it.
approved it.
That was their suggestion.
So how about-
That was just in a private meeting with just the president.
so how about split the difference, 325?
I'm good with 3.
Yeah.
Like you said, they haven't paid.
it's a nice
Yeah,
round
it's-
number.
It's a nice round
Threes,
number.
I agree with you, Rob.
Okay.
So does that, does the motion stand as stated, or did
There's
we
no
amend it?
second on the motion.
There's no second
There's
on the
no
motion.
Well, I said, did we amend the motion, or did you amend it?
The motion was for 300.
For 300, they sign they sign the agreement, correct?
Right, and they have to sign the agreement here, that they're going to be responsible for any
But
other
I thought Cheryl wanted to
activities.
amend it to have,
Some type of
Like
COLA?
an increase.
Yeah. It would be linked to whatever increase we apply to our dues,
Percent-wise or
Yes.
dollar-wise?
percent-wise.
Okay.
So we would need to,
We're
you'd have to
usually below
you'd have to
3%.
amend your motion, please.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we would charge them $300 a year with an annual fee increase based on the percentage of our increase for the RMA dues on a yearly basis.
I second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay.
Can I just add that the resident use agreement on paragraph 3, that agreement does state that the Rancho Murieta Association can adjust the fee annually.
Okay.
we
So that's
don't
already written
necessarily
in
need
there.
that
Sorry,
our
written in there,
motion.
and the only thing the only reason I'm bringing that up is, a COLA might turn out to be $2.24, whereas if you have the right to increase the fee whatever you want annually, you might make it $3 or $4 or $5. Instead of having weird numbers floating around,
Try to keep it even numbers.
Yeah, I like the first motion myself,
Okay.
and then let the contract.
There you go.
So do we need a new motion?
So,
No?
So,
Say-
would you like to amend your motion again?
Yeah, I'll amend
Or
it.
do you want to just vote down and we can start off over?
I'll just amend it for a third time. We'll go with a $300 annual fee for allowing village assets.
I second.
Is there any further discussion?
and signing of the resident use agreement.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Resident.
Okay.
thank you.
And just really quick for, for public consumption too, it's just a question of paying a fair share is what I think we're trying to establish here. And people who live inside the gates who have access to this amenity, we all pay, whether we use that gate or whether we use the parks or not. We have to pay for the upkeep, and we're just trying to the people who live outside of the gates do have access. It's not guaranteed to be free. We're just trying to establish a number that would be fair, that will allow them to come in. And it's only for those who want to come in, right? People who don't want to come in are not charged this fee. So, okay, said my piece. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of Jim's amended motion, $300 a month, and the agreement stipulations, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, and Stephanie, I think you've got the casino night update.
Sure. So I was asked to present on casino night and an update as to where we're at. So as of yesterday, we have 93 tickets sold for the event. We have 7 confirmed sponsors. We have a revenue amount, which is updated from what's in your binder, of $8,125. Our break-even number was $6,822.54. So we are in the positive for $1,303 with 30 days left to go, and we have 4 sponsors that are promised yet to be paid funds and confirmed for the event. So I think we're definitely on track. The committee members have been working very hard to make this event successful, and we're very excited. I'm happy to answer any questions.
And what's the date of the event again?
February 23rd.
And current ticket prices are?
$120 for 2, $70 for a single ticket.
Okay. And you have tickets here tonight?
I do.
Okay.
And where are the proceeds going?
The proceeds are intended to go towards additional recreational activities for the 2019 year, to be followed up by more discussion to come.
Okay.
Greenfield lease agreement.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. This is the point of the, we're at the point of the meeting where if you see a topic that you want to have public comment on, you can come and address that specific topic. So just to reiterate, so Greenfield, anyone? Anyone Greenfield? All right.
Okay, last month, the board took action to approve an assignment of the Greenfield lease to Varcom Communications. Apparently, the escrow fell through on that deal, and so the system will be staying with Greenfield, and the reassignment is now a dead issue. And my next item is the recreation survey, and that's, I think Larry wants to cover that.
There's the possibility that the demographics in Rancho Murieta have shifted in the last few years. And some previous recreational activities have faded in importance, and others have become more of value. Furthermore, citizens might prefer to reduce RMA's involvement in recreational activities and depend more on community groups and volunteers for recreation. Or they may prefer, they may be in favor of expanding RMA's responsibility by adding a recreational department within our staff and have increased funding for recreational activities. This recreational department could be tasked with managing all the recreational activities, including youth sports and scheduling the usage of our facilities and parks. There are several ways we can get detailed community feedback about important issues like this. And one is the new website, Neighbor. That's one way to do it. And I propose that RMA staff or at the board's discretion, an ad hoc committee be developed to develop a survey asking the community for input and the magnitude of our future recreational activities.
Okay, that opens it for discussion.
Well, you know, with surveys, if you get 10 to 15% back, you're doing good, and usually it's the people that are interested in the ideas.
Right.
Just in general, that's how surveys work. And the rest you can all consider no's.
And I do think.
Or
it's-
they don't care?
I also think it's critical that the questions be appropriately asked. And I would direct anybody that is involved in developing the questionnaire to recognize that they need both someone that is opposed to a particular question and someone who's in favor of it to review the question to make sure it is written appropriately so it isn't biasing the results.
And
Did
Cheryl-
you
Cheryl,
see
don't
the
you have some ex-
recent, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask Cheryl, don't you have some experience on conducting surveys?
Well, I've done a lot of them in the past. When I was superintendent of school districts, we did a lot of surveys. My concern about this, Larry, is, this is the first time we've seen it when you brought it in the packet. It's the first discussion we've all had on this, is I don't want us to think too small, because I think there's more information that we need to be getting from the community other than just recreation activities. And we've talked about it before, about once we get the website up and going, that it has the power to conduct a pretty thorough survey. And so I have mentioned many times that I just really, really wish that our community had a community center with an updated aquatic center and a exercise facility and rec rooms and childcare and things like that, because other communities have these. They're beautiful, and I just really would like to see our community have it. And a couple years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, this concept came up, and it actually went out to the community for a vote, and we didn't get a good return. You're right, we didn't get a good return on the vote, and then what we did, it didn't get approved because it, perhaps people thought it was going to be too expensive or whatever. My feeling is it didn't get approved because maybe we didn't do the proper PR campaign to really launch that concept. Being a superintendent in school districts, when we had to pass bond elections, we had to pass all kinds of things, we really learned how to package something so that it gave all the information to the community and pointed out the reasons why it would be an enhancement to our community. So if we're going to do a survey, I mean, you can only ask people so many times. So I'd really like us to think a little bigger and maybe make this survey be a community survey that would give us input on a lot of other issues that we're trying to make decisions about in the future. So I'm not opposed to the recreation part of it. I think that should be a significant part of it. But I think that, it would be nice to maybe have an artist rendering of a possible community center and what the cost would be to people and see what people's interests are in that. We're looking at an emergency preparedness plan that has an evacuation plan, and we will probably need some input from the community on that. And so I just see that in the next 6 months, we need to be asking, and you don't want to make it too big or people won't fill it out. So, 5 or the critical 10 questions that we need to get information from this community, something like that.
I agree totally. And I think the more topics that you cover in a survey, the more participation you're going to get from the community. And so I think that will help get your numbers up, that make them work. I also think that the Esqualo Gate is a key subject.
That would be another one.
That should be on a survey.
Yeah, I mean, people need information about the plans for that when we finalize them, and then we need to ask them for input.
Is it possible on the website, if we are to do a survey, for example, if the Escuela Gate topic comes up, to have a question, but then have like a hyperlink so that people can read maybe background stories on the information or read past minutes on discussion? Is that too complex? I just think it's helpful for people in the community to make decisions if they can then reference past data, past information to make an informed decision, yay or nay.
So I haven't thoroughly studied the survey piece of the website, but I would imagine that there is a way to do that, or if not, then in the lead up to the survey, say, click here for additional information. They may not be able to click within the form itself.
Sure.
But we could have information, outside the form for them that they can.
I think that
they
would be
can find.
helpful.
Yeah, I think one recent survey that I recall that was not very well received, asked a question like, are you in favor, I'll use the Esqualo Gate as an example, are you in favor of a man disqualified, and it was unanimously in favor of, but no one happened to say in there how much that was going to cost annually and how much that was going to cost to put in. And I think that's critical for developing the survey. If you want true answers, you need to make sure the questions are appropriate so people have that knowledge. And your point about not being able to go somewhere else and get more detailed information is a good one.
And the recent survey I looked at was one actually sent out by Sue Frost, and I don't know if our website works that way or not, but you had to pick only one answer, you know, like in a list of recreational activities. You couldn't just say this one and this one and this one. You had to pick in order
It
of what was.
forced you to prioritize.
Yeah,
Which
to
is really helpful,
prioritize.
yeah.
So that would, we have to look and see if our website survey does that.
You know,
But
find out what they use.
yeah, we can find out what they used.
I don't know, how many,
That was a good
did you
one.
get the one that Sue Frost just sent out last week, everybody? I encourage you to fill it out. I mean, I think it'll be good information.
This also it may have a side benefit for those of you in the audience who are interested in a recreational center or in expanding the recreational activities within the community. Then you need to go get on Neighbor,
Yeah.
which is one of the things we've been trying to do, is expand that website so it has more value to us.
So,
We should have that website, like, posted in a lot of places, too.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just starting,
Soon.
we're just
Yes.
starting.
Just soon.
Yeah. It'll come soon, yeah.
I'm just seeing
We'll do
some
lots of
confused
rollouts.
looks from the audience. So the Neighbor Network is the new Rancho Murieta website,
February 10th.
the association website. That's the new, is it the software Neighbor Network is, or the company that's supporting
And
it?
it's just an acronym, NABR.
We
Neighbor.
we have some information, I think, out in the lobby also about how you want to sign up for the website. It gives you the information. And we're going to be talking more about it during the communications committee portion
She's got
of the
more
meeting.
information
You have
on
an
it, yeah.
update on that? Okay, great.
So Cheryl, is it safe to say we're going to have to give Greg some tasks so we can have a complete survey when you're talking about a community center and what we would want out of it?
Well, I'd like to see it be more comprehensive than just focus on that one thing. And so maybe we can, have a little study session on it at some point.
Well, I think we're all, I mean, reading the board here, it sounds like the survey itself is the direction we want to go in. And maybe, I think, expansive one that includes some of the things we brought up. Are we better off doing that as an ad hoc committee or giving staff that task, I guess is my question. How would you like to?
Well, I mean, I think, number one, we have to decide who's qualified to write a survey like that. I mean, I don't think staff's got the qualifications to write an all-encompassing survey like you're talking about, because that's going to have
Well, I think
ramifications for the community.
Maybe we could look into who we could get some help from for that.
You want to maybe cite us, get us a quote or something? That'd be possible?
Maybe, well,
Find out who did Sue Frost.
yeah. Let me check around, yeah. I
Start
mean,
with some we know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me get some costs on what it would do. I mean, I'm trying to think if I got enough of the,
Ralph, you have some experience in this. Yes.
okay, so Ralph can do it. There's my answer.
You've written surveys.
I
haven't
have
you?
too. but
I've written
but I would want-
surveys.
I would want some help, yeah.
I think personally, I'd like to see a survey, once we have something developed, go through the Recreation Committee. We do have a balance of varying viewpoints on the Recreation Committee as it was last year, and I think we would be able to get feedback as far as that goes, and maybe even the Parks Committee would be another committee that it could go through to get some feedback as well. I don't
And
personally know that an ad hoc committee.
I'm thinking too, communication. I mean,
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. We'll develop a way to get input from lots of people.
Well, and we have to see what the capabilities of our survey.
We have a consultant, her name's Melody, right?
We do. Well,
She's very knowledgeable, I'm sure she would have some insight into this.
right, and what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just haven't,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
with the launch and everything, we just haven't
Maybe
gotten
we'll
a
all
chance to
start
go
digging
that
and we'll
far.
bring this topic back. Does that sound okay?
I didn't catch that one
We'll
more
all
time.
start digging and getting a little more information and we'll bring this topic back at some point? Can we
that
do
sounds like the plan.
Is that okay with you,
I
Larry?
think
Can
we
we
want to
take-
get this
can we
survey out
work on it a little
soon,
bit?
Absolutely,
but yeah, I think we need the time to do that work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this, obviously, we've mentioned at least 3 committees here that could be involved in this, and those people who are chairing those committees can point that out and ask for feedback from them initially, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll get some
Get the
community
ball
feedback.
rolling, get the ball rolling.
So what is soon? I'll just throw that out. Is soon 2 months, 3 months?
Gosh, I would want this out by.
Well, I think we
spring.
have to identify, if we plan on hiring the survey, then we need to identify the costs and get that looked at first. I mean, it may turn out, if it's $20,000 or $30,000, I mean, do you have to budget that and put it in your goals for next year?
Yeah.
So that means we
and-
should be able to get a cost for it, possibly for next month, so we can address it again?
Do you guys have an idea of what kind of recreational committee questions you want put out on your survey?
I do.
So you already know what you want asked.
I can as well. That was one of my questions. Should we
Well, why
start
don't you
maybe
guys write down
brainstorming ideas
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
What
collaborating
it
so
is
that we
you
have?
want,
And then when we,
and,
Stephanie and I'll run that through the recreational committee and come up with some numbers.
okay, and you can send it over to the communications committee, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay?
Okay.
We will.
All right.
Or
Sounds
you guys
good.
can start your own.
I'll just print Rancho Cordovas.
We can also get input from the residents, too. I mean, they can always email the board and let us know what their thoughts
Well,
are.
I'm assuming that the board members or that's how they're getting their questions,
Okay.
probably.
Okay. So, do we feel satisfied with where we're at now? Kind of get the ball rolling in the committees, and then
Okay.
you guys can come back with a,
Okay?
sounds good, sounds good?
Sounds
All
good,
right.
sounds good.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, we're on to our committee activities. That's item 8 for those following on the agenda. That starts with the Finance Committee.
Okay, the Finance Committee met on January 8th, 2019, and we approved the minutes from our December meeting, or previous meeting, I'm sorry, it was, and we discussed the safety and incident compliance process that actually needs to be purchased. So Rod Hart is here, and when is he, are you going to talk about it now, or are you going to talk about it when it comes up? During the maintenance committee, okay. So he came to us for approval for that, and it was approved to not exceed $5,500 for that, what would you call it? A management system, I guess is what it is. And then we also looked at the financial statements. And that completes my report. It was a quick meeting.
Oh, okay, thank you. How about Architectural Review Committee, please?
I've got even a quicker report because Mark decided he was going to take a month off.
So no report?
No report.
All right. Communications Committee.
Mine's a little longer. So, as you know, Greenfield has put out some new packages for us. The other original deal fell through, so we're moving on, and it's a good deal for the community. Our internet is going up, in speed. The only cost difference is at the very basic one, and that's just a minimal cost of $7 and for almost double the speed. So, and they really see the future of cable and video going towards the internet to where you can stream what you want, and get apps for you what you want. And, that's why they're offering the gigabyte service too, and all the additional speeds. And we're one of the only communities in the nation that have that. So it's, we're really prepared for anything that comes up in the future. So there are some changes to the video packages, and the changes occur, I believe, January 24th. So, we have the new video packages, but if you want to make a change, it is short notice, and we do apologize for that. And the sports channels are at the higher end, but as Larry pointed out, I think the automatic Giants channel that we had, you're not seeing it in the package?
We had 2 channels that kind of bounced around to different places in your lineup. They were on 29 at 29, and they bounced to 128 and 129, and then they bounced to 147 and 148. And then most of us could get them on channel 21 and 22. That's the Giants game directly. That is not blacked out because of local games. We spent a lot of time getting those channels available to us. It's also the A's channel. But they've taken them off the lineup. The only thing you have left is the the NBA sports channel. NBC sports channel. And those will only have one game, whichever they determine is the most important for you to see, and they cannot have any games that would be blacked out. So most of the Giants and A's games would be blocked out.
So we don't have those channels,
We don't- we
basically,
won't-
yeah.
They're not listed on any of
Right.
their lists anymore. So we've kind of discussed this, that we will go back to Greenfield and see if they will get those for us.
Oh, no, I don't think we discussed that. I didn't discuss that, and it was made
Well,
very
we
clear
just
to
had a
us.
discussion.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Well, it was pretty clear in our communications meeting that, Greenfield isn't going to come back and adjust the channels, menus, because we had already talked about that at the communications committee meeting. And he was pretty clear on that. I mean, we can ask him, but as far as I know, he's pretty steadfast that we're not going to, because what they see as the future would be the internet, where you could get an app, or like you said, get it through Hula, or some of those other specialties for where, if you want specialty programming, that would be the new way to go get it.
Joanne?
And if you just want the core basic, then,
I think when the community realizes they're gonna lose that, the ability to watch those games as they did last year, they're gonna demand some additional discussion on this. I
Yeah.
don't think people are in an objection to paying Greenfield additional monies to bring those channels in. I think that was actually what happened the last time we had a contract, which was a couple of years ago. So, your feedback would be important, and I think we're already getting some of that on .com.
is that something you're going to look into, Greg?
I'll definitely contact Mike and find out about the Bay Area sports package and see what's going to be
You better
pushed
ask
through
him
that.
about
Yeah.
Hallmark, too. You better ask him about Hallmark, too.
Well, Hallmark's available.
Hallmark's gonna
It's
be on
just
the
at
AT
a
200.
higher rate.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Hallmark's available. You just have to go to the higher, you have to go to this one.
One of the things that I see mentioned in the minutes is that
The AT200.
Mike Powers potentially offered to hold a town hall meeting. I think that if we could maybe ask him to do so, seeing a lot of comments on RanchoMurieta.com and some feedback that I got from residents myself, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of misinformation that's going out, and I think it would just help to hear it directly from Greenfield as opposed to third-party communication, and then he can directly implement whatever those changes may be. I think that would be helpful.
I'm sorry,
We're just talking about getting Mike out here for a town hall meeting, so.
well, he offered to do so. I mean, he's very enthusiastic about trying to get the word about his internet service out here, and, he just wants to keep promoting out here as much
I
as he
think
can.
it's important to open those communication lines and to increase transparency for everybody.
But again, we can ask about the dedicated sports channels like we had last year, but it's, and my voice is going. But as far as I know, he was pretty clear in the communications committee that they were sticking to the packages that they presented. And the second part was our website, and I can't talk. It launched on December 26th. And if you're a member, you can take advantage of our calendar notices and other new features. And we had almost 200 residents signed up. And you can sign up at RMA Neighbor Network. That's NABRNETWORK.com. And if you're having trouble with your sign-in process, there is a neighbors help desk number, and that one is 855-373-5722. And we were thinking of having a workshop where the public, if they wanted to come in and view all the new features of the website, it would be February 10th from 2 to 3. And we would be here about 1:30 if you wanted to come early, you know, have some cookies, whatever. And then we'll be demonstrating it from 2 to 3, and that's on Sunday, February 10th, for any residents who would like to come in and look at it, and sign up, hopefully. And this is something you'll like to know about, Stephanie, because we're going to have a special planning meeting, the Communications Committee. So we'll be meeting next month on Wednesday, February 13th at 4 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Joanne, that February 10th meeting, was at what time?
February 13th.
No, the previous
10th.
one.
Oh, February 10th. It is in the RMA building, the demonstrations from 2 to 3, but we'll be here in the building at 1:30.
Thank you.
It would be nice if people could let Barbara know if they would like to come, maybe, just so we have an idea of how many might come. But if not, you're welcome anyway.
Could you put something in the newsletter this?
I will. Yeah, I didn't,
It's like it's getting close, right, Darlene?
I think Darlene's waiting for me. I keep telling her I'm almost ready, but,
Would it be possible too, because it seems like a lot of people don't know about our new website and/or that it's launched, to put one of the banners out on the north and south side so that people are aware that we do have a new website? Please go to this link.
Could we also do an e-blast by any chance? An e-blast?
I think we're doing all
You're
that
doing all
and
the
above
above right
except
now?
the banners.
Speaking of sending out communications, our reader board, what's the progress with our reader board? Okay.
Okay. I have a question. Who in the audience has actually signed up for our website? Okay. There's a whole bunch of these that we'll have out in front of there, and you guys can take them, and it'll tell you how you can sign up. So now you know. And that's all I have for the Communications Committee.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Compliance, Grievance, and Safety Committee.
Okay, compliance met on Tuesday, January 8th. And just give you a quick summary. From June and through November, we were pretty consistent on getting the message out to the public regarding trying to slow down and come to complete stops. I was in a security meeting this last week at CSD, and the chief made a notation there where this last month of December, he wanted to say that there was over a 50% reduction in both speeding violations and stop sign violations. And it was his opinion, and I'm hoping he's right, that it looks like we've got, as Tim maybe used to say, we've got behavior modification taking place now. So I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get the same lower numbers this coming month. But that's, I've talked about it before, it's all about, it's in the hands of the residents on that one.
And our trailers that were approved, what's the current status of that?
It's all going to be going out to bid now. We got the new year started, yeah.
All right, great.
And we should hear back on that process this next meeting then?
Over the next 30 to 60 days, yes.
Okay. All right, and just a side note, anyone, just for overall security and safety, SMUD, when you go to, if you have any street lights that are burnt out, all you have to do is go to the pole, and there's a reference number, I think it's either 5 or 6 digits, just have to look at the number, call SMUD, and they will come out and replace that light. And I know there's a couple in my neighborhood, I just have to sit down and write down the numbers and give SMUD a call. Because I know at night, this, compared to the city, when things start getting dark around here, it's pretty dark. That's all I have.
And since you brought up lights, Rob, I'm going to pick on you again. I have a cat tonight. I'll try and do more of it. 2 years ago, we had kind of a move with SMUD to replace some of the poles, and they were supposed to come back with more replacements. How's that program fitting in there.
Well, not as quickly as what we'd like, but they have been out replacing a lot of the fixtures with new LEDs, which has given us a lot better light than what we've had in the past. And they have started the process of replacing some of those worst poles as well, as far as the wood ones, replacing those with the fiberglass. But they've still got a long ways to go.
Okay. But we're still working on it.
Correct.
And one more question for you on that. Has SMUD given you a completion date on when they'll get our community 100% LED lights?
No.
Not all the fixtures are SMUD's fixtures. Some we own. And so I think for the ones that are SMUD owned, I think they've got most of those replaced with LED fixtures.
And what percentage is it between SMUD and RMA?
What do we have, about 20% or? Oh, 5%, okay, maybe 5% are ours and the rest are SMUD.
And then do we have plans to replace that 5% then?
We've asked them for their fixture specifications. Danny is supposed to have gotten that when they were installing them, so we're going to try to price those out.
Okay.
So
And
yeah,
then-
we'd have to come back to the board for the approval of it.
Okay,
When they were out here, we did get that information from them, so we knew what they were using.
okay. That's it?
Thank you. Governing docs.
We did not meet,
Thank you.
but the survey should run through us, I think.
All right.
Be sure and make sure you've got his question on there.
I'll come up with something, I'll figure it out.
All right, and we have joint security on our agenda here. I think that's just to announce that we are meeting as a joint security, I believe so, on February 28th at 6 p.m., and that's open to the public. So joint security meeting is February 28th, 6 p.m. Do our newly anointed members have anything to add to that?
That will be here, correct?
It will, yeah.
Okay.
Maintenance committee.
The maintenance committee did meet, and we discussed primarily the safety and incident compliance issue that Cheryl alluded to that went through finance. And so I would like to, it's in your packet, explain the details. There's actually two different bids, and the maintenance committee kind of approved one bid, but then we found out that there's a little difference in what the plans were that the two offered, and Rod wanted to revisit it. So he went to maintenance, or he went to finance with $5,500. So I'm asking for approval for Rod to spend up to $5,500, depending on which bid he selects, based on the details of the bid. That's my motion.
Okay, motion on the floor for the bid. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And there's a second. Any further discussion?
Rod, you have anything you want to say about the discussion?
Well, yeah, I think I would add that the program that we have for staying compliant right now, organization-wide, is a program that was written in-house back in the early 90s. And I have heavily relied on one of our employees that is retired this last year to keep that updated. It's a pretty time-consuming process in regards to using the program that we had in the past. So this program will make sure that we're compliant with our safety program and also incidences in regards to accidents that may happen in the field, and then also keep us compliant with our MSDSs and so forth. Part of the problem with using the system, the old system, is that it takes a lot of research each year to make sure that we're following the letter of the law. This is a cloud-based program that, as updates to the law and updates to MSDS's change, they're automatically injected into the system so that everything that we're using we know is current data and current law. So it's going to be much less time consuming and much less labor intensive to use this program. This program will actually, depending on what department each employee's in, we'll set up a training module for each one of them based off of what equipment they use. So it certainly will help us quite a bit.
A couple of questions for you. Does that mean that this will be entirely computer-based and you don't need a hard copy for the MSDS binders?
That's correct. Yeah, we can do what in our chemical shed. We will always have a hard copy, and we'll check those occasionally and go ahead and switch those out. But those will now come from this program. I'm currently the safety coordinator, and so on at least a monthly basis, I'll change those out to make sure that if anything's changed on that MSDS, they've got the most current one in the chemical shed.
And from your past experience, how often do you see changes taking place? Coming from the state, maybe every 6 months or?
I mean, everyone's different. So it's. I don't know that I could intelligently answer that question, Jim.
That's okay.
You never know when they're going to hit, and I would say, I'm probably pretty safe in saying that a dozen times a year you're going to probably that system's going to come in and change an MSDS that we haven't used all the product and haven't gotten an updated one. I don't know if that's answered your question.
No. So the important part is the computer system is that's going to be your go-to system.
It is.
And just one more question. For the certification process, do you do it on an annual basis or every other year?
I'm not sure.
For employees, I mean for...
So we have certified applicators so that that go out and do our chemical applications. They're required to get an X amount of training and hours towards continuing education annually to maintain that license. In regards to this program, we, for instance, do daily safety briefings in order to stay compliant with the law. And then weekly we'll do what we call a tailgate meeting. And then, we'll have quarterly safety meetings with the entire crew that will go over more specific topics and a little more involved topics.
Okay. And then is it safe to say that RMA picks up the cost for the individuals who have to maintain these licenses then?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And in addition to that, we have in your packet a list of projects that are ongoing.
Wait, I'm sorry, we have a motion, I think we have a
Oh, that's
motion
right.
and a
I'm
second.
sorry.
So,
Thank you.
no problem. Any further discussion? Okay, so seeing none, all in favor of
$5,500.
$5,500 safety incident compliance expenditure, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. In addition, in your packet is the maintenance department projects, and I'd like to point out that the lighting at the dog park has been completed, and the restrooms at Rancho Lake have been completed. And are we having a big ribbon cutting ceremony?
We'll probably wait till it warms up and clears up a little bit.
I have a quick question. I think I might have asked this before, but I can't remember the answer to it. Are there specific hours that the restrooms at Clementia are open and being locked?
We unlock them in the morning around 6:30 or 7, and security locks them at night at 10. I do have some good news to report on the restrooms. When we were considering the purchase of the restrooms, one of the additional costs we were looking at were pumping the tank, and that was going to be probably done quarterly. We weren't sure. It was going to be fairly expensive. And so by going to these restrooms or the porta potties, weren't really going to realize any savings because of that pumping cost. Well, Rod recently found a vendor that's going to match our porta potty rates that we're currently paying, and then once a week, he's going to pump the toilet for free. And so that's going to be a pretty dramatic savings. I think probably about $4,000 a year, I think we'll save annually for having that pumping done free once a week.
Great.
And plus, we don't have to worry about monitoring it as much. I mean, it's easily going to, if you pump it once a week, it's never going to get near full, so it's going to be nice.
Awesome.
Good job.
Good job, Rod.
Thank you, Ron.
And I encourage you to continue to monitor that list as Rod works through it and gets things accomplished.
Oh, and I see on your list the disc golf course at Greens Park, February 2019, huh?
But we do have the equipment in for the golfers, golf course.
When the rain stops, huh?
So actually, we're I guess, toying with whether we do the lights at the tennis courts and the basketball court first, or we do the Frisbee golf course first. But those are the next two items on our list.
Sounds good. Anything else?
That's it. That's mine.
Thank you, Larry. How about Parks Committee, Cheryl?
Parks Committee did not meet.
Awesome. And Recreation Committee, Stephanie?
The Recreation Committee did not meet, however, our subcommittee for Casino Night has been meeting. We've been working diligently. I reported earlier on the update on Casino Night. I just wanted to let everybody know a couple of important dates. Our deadline date for any sponsorships is January 31st, if anyone's interested in doing so. Raffle prize donations, our deadline date is February 8th. And tickets are going to be sold up to and including of the day of the event at the door. So if anybody's interested in going, I have tickets available tonight for sale. And the Recreation Committee members have been hand-delivering tickets to anybody interested. They're on Eventbrite, also available at the RMA office as well. And thank you, everybody, for your support of the event. It's going to be fun.
And it might be important for me to know when your next meeting is.
Oh, first Wednesday of the every month, but we haven't confirmed for February, but yes.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, that moves us on to item 9, which is board member comments. Any board member has 3 minutes to pontificate on any subject. So anyone like to? Joanne, you can
Okay.
go first.
Well, I would just like to say, I really do feel lucky to live in a community where so many people have been so generous and donated so many things over the year and continue to do so. That is truly why we have the activities that we do in this community, such as our own summer concert series, and, we bring our own state fair, basically, a carnival in for our kids so they can go out there and play safely. And that is truly unique to our community. And I do agree with Mr. Martell. Mr. Jenko came up here to show all the contributions that they had made in good faith to previous boards. And if for no other reason, I do think we should sort of apologize to him because he was 6 years on this RMA board, and he's the vice president just elected over at CSD. And I think he does the things he does for this community because he truly loves it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne. Cheryl, anything?
Nothing today.
All right. Larry, would you like to?
ETC has announced their summer series, and I hope everyone checks that out. And since they have now announced their summer series, I have the Free Rock series in between their dates, so I'm getting ready to release my dates also. And that'll be coming up soon. And I've got 5 concerts planned and maybe 6.
Are they on Saturday nights?
No.
Are they on Saturday nights the same as ours?
Yep, they are, but they're on different dates.
Good, we can go to both that way.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to jump in for my 3 minutes, if you don't mind.
Nope.
We'll just go down the row. I want to point out, too, I really appreciate what Randy Janko and the others in this community have done for us. And There's no question about that. So we'll work on that. And Greg, I wanted to just let you know that I support you 100%. The value that you bring to the community is it's really hard to measure in terms of a dollar figure. And I do appreciate that. And also, the country club has been doing a lot of good stuff over there too. I think that really exciting, some of their events they've been doing over there as well, and it's good to see that going on over there. So anyway, yeah, good things going on. Good things going on.
I'm good.
I just want to say, looking back from where we've been, not to look in the rearview mirror, but looking forward, I'm really looking forward to moving the community forward in 2019. I know the strong foundation, reason why I moved out here is a foundation under which Rancho Murieta has been built, the strong volunteership from multiple people in the community, and so I want to recognize that. And, just looking forward, I appreciate the board's support moving forward and looking how to move things forward in a positive manner, working together collaboratively, and taking the input in where our community is going, so.
Yeah, I just want to say that, when I first came on this board, just a little over 2 years ago, and I'm sure it's obvious to most of you, but really I had no idea what happens behind the scenes of an association and how it runs. So really that first year sitting back, watching how that board operated and specifically how they interacted with staff and the questions that they had for Greg on just about every issue, especially development. I'll just use development as one, and the MBA, which were some serious issues that we were really facing that year, and they're coming up again. Really, every single board member, when they had questions about the MBA, about the history of the development, Greg was the go-to guy. And right now, we were just talking about something, an important issue that's going to really affect this community, and we're all looking to Greg for advice and opinions because he has a unique institutional knowledge of the community here that nobody else has. Nobody else has. That coupled with the way he interacts with the staff, the position and the place that the association is currently, and I'm talking financially, the amenities that this community continues to enjoy, and the way that the staff operates, I honestly believe we did our fiduciary duty. I understand if you're on the outside looking in, you might not understand that, but I think this board, I think they would agree with me, and even boards past would agree that not only Greg, but not only his staff are worth every single penny that we're paying them, if not maybe even a little underpaid, dare I say it. But I think that if anybody looks into that, and they would understand that from my chair, that's the way I feel. I think the majority of the board and past board members would feel that way too.
Okay.
Can we agree?
Totally agree.
Totally agree.
Thank you for that. That is not a motion, so. Okay. All right, so announcements. Our next regular monthly Board of Directors meeting is February 19th at 6:30 right in this building. We hope to see you there. The board, we need to go back into executive session briefly to finish contract talks. So for the rest of us, have a good evening. We are adjourned.